Good day. Welcome to the Marketing Management online class schedule 2. This video we will talk about market classification. We already saw in our previous videos what a market is, a place where buyers and sellers meet. It may be a physical space or it may be a virtual space because in today's scenario we have both kinds of market. Moving further, this market term originated with the Latin word marketus and it had different meanings like where, traffic, trade, or place where business was conducted. Philip Kotler has always told a market is a set of actual and potential buyers of a product. To explore further, market means a place. Obviously, as we told earlier in the first introduction, it may be a physical space or it may be a virtual space where buying and selling is going to take place. There is a transaction involved because these people come together only for making some transaction. There is an exchange that is happening. It is either a good or service being exchanged like in your barter system, or today we exchange for some money. It is happening through an organization. We are not just going to buy it or sell it directly, right? It is going to happen through an organization. Only through the organization you buy a product or a service. Whereas if you take a local market, you buy something like no a vegetable or a greens in your local market. There again you have two peoples. But when these two people grow up together, setting up as entities, setting up a system, then it becomes an organization. And of course, this buying and selling is going to happen, which will satisfy human wants. So, in a market, human wants are satisfied. As we remember in our previous videos, we discussed want is something which is directed to a specific object. Of course, there is an area of operation. Again, here, the operational area, wherever the operation is taking place, can be a physical space or a virtual space. With this, we will move on to further classification of market and know what are the importance. Why should we know this market classification? It is very important to understand to whom we are selling. Only when we know to whom we are selling, you will be able to design your marketing plans accordingly. So, how do you know whom you are selling? For that, you must be able to know what is a market first, understand the characteristics of the market, and then get on to which market you want to target. So, some of the importance is reciprocal benefits. Both the buyer and seller are benefited. There is an incentive to producer because the producer, whatever he produces, he is not going to come and sell it here for free. He will have an incentive and then only sell it in a market. And there is an employment generation. Depending upon which type of market, accordingly employment opportunities gets generated. There is an index of economic situation. How many Indian companies are there in international level or in the domestic level or in the regional level? These all will determine your economic index. So it is very important to understand the market characteristics and also the supply and demand adjustment. How is the supply and the demand in your particular market and how that can be adjusted or how that can be capitalized. So, with all these points, it is becoming significant for us to understand the importance of market. With this basis, we will move further to market classification. The first classification is on the basis of geographical area. So, in which area you are going to operate, whether you are going to operate in a local market, local area, regional level, national level, or at an international level. Accordingly, based on the area of operation, market has been classified this way. The best example for local market is a perishable good. because whatever is being manufactured, either some vegetables, local vegetables that you get, or a green that you get, we try to sell it in that particular market itself. Whereas if you take the regional market, the example could be your food grain, the textiles for national market, and tea or coffee at your international market. We'll move on to the further classification. Basis of goods. We have two types: commodities market and capital market. Consumer goods, agricultural goods, and industrial goods all comes under your commodities market. Money market, foreign exchange, stock market comes under your capital market. Now, sometimes you may have example, there may be a confusion between agricultural good or consumer good also. Consumer good is generally referred to as goods which is being consumed by people. Say, for example, your hair oil or your shampoo or your soap or your toothpaste, toothbrush, whatever we are using on a daily basis, which is being consumed by us, is called as a consumer good. Sometimes, when we buy rice, directly procure it from the uh, place where farming is being done, that is also being consumed by us. But when it is being procured by a company and then done some processing and then being packaged and then sent to you, it becomes a consumer good. But sometimes you may also be directly procuring your agricultural good. That does not mean it is not your consumer good. So the same thing applies for your industrial good. Okay. The next classification is on the basis of competition. On the basis of competition, we have two types of market: perfect market and imperfect market. The characteristics of perfect market are, I'm sure you would have done this in economics last year. We have a large number of buyers and sellers. The product is homogeneous. Homogeneous in the sense the product is similar. So when the product is similar, what happens? We cannot show big differences in pricing. The companies will have almost like no follow a similar kind of pricing. They won't show a big difference in pricing. And there's a perfect knowledge either with the buyers or with the sellers. They know what this particular market is. So that is a perfect market. Let us see some examples of perfect market. Your agricultural market, your free software, any open source software which is available, your street food vendors. You know very well there is not much difference in the pricing. Or even if there is 10 or 5 rupees difference, we know the marketer as well as the buyer is very well aware how does the difference in pricing attributes to. There's a perfect knowledge among the buyers and seller. That is why we say this market as a perfect market where perfect competition exists. The next one is an imperfect market. In an imperfect market, it is a similar, the products are similar, but it is not identical. That is very important point to be noted. Since it is not identical, what happens is there is no uniform pricing. Depending upon whatever is the product variation, the price will also change, and there is no perfect knowledge among the buyers and sellers. There are different types of imperfect market. The first one which we will see is a monopolistic competition which exists in the monopolistic market. Again, we told in an imperfect market, the products are similar but not identical. Let's take this example of hairdressing salons. You go for a haircut. You can do a haircut in a barber shop, a local barber shop, without any AC or with minimal service that is being provided. Or you can take up the same haircut in a saloon which is providing you some good service and also has some AC and all the other benefits. Or you can even take it in a very more specialized saloon, right? So in this particular thing, the ultimately the service is only one thing, it is your haircut. But it is similar, but it is not identical because the service provided by each of this, the local barber shop and a AC barber shop and a saloon, premier saloon, is different. So the pricing may vary. So that is what is your monopolistic competition or a monopolistic market. The next one is your oligopoly. If you take your oligopoly, again, The service is almost the same. The basic service, whatever is providing, is same. But at the same time, what happens here is the pricing is different. Maybe because of some other benefits that we get. Say, for example, the service speed with which you get BSNL and with Reliance Communications are different. It is not the same. So the pricing is not the same. The only difference between monopolistic and oligopolistic is, in case of a monopolistic, you can enter into the market easily. If you want to set up a hair salon, a barber shop or something, if you know the trade, you can get into the market. But whereas in case of oligopoly, the market is restricted. The entry of the firm is restricted. It is regulated by the government. You cannot start your own telecom company immediately tomorrow. It is restricted. The entry of the firm is the important characteristic for oligopoly. The last type of imperfect market is Indian Railways, which is a monopoly. You are all very familiar with this. In a nutshell, I'm trying to show, in a perfect competition, if you see the number of firms is high, there are number of sellers and buyers, everyone is high. As you move on, it becomes very low in monopoly. On the other hand, if you see the firm's influence of price level, in monopoly, the price level influenced by the firm is high. But when you go from oligopoly to monopolistic and reach perfect competition, it is low. We'll move on to the next market classification on the basis of transaction: spot market, future market. Spot market is something where instantly the transaction happens, immediately it happens. Whereas future market, the transaction happens in a future date. The next classification is basis of regulation. Regulation by the government, regulated market and unregulated market. The example of regulated market is your food and drug administration, your pharma industry, your stock shares buying, all this has been regulated by the government. So the government has very specifically given how the trade has to be carried out. But whereas in case of unregulated market, there are no such regulations given by the government. Say, for example, most of it is will be illegal. Say, if you're going to get some product sold illegally by the foreign companies in your local market somewhere in your Burma Bazaar or somewhere, or it may be like this digital currency which is available, which has come up now, that all happens to be an unregulated market. This digital currency is still not regulated completely. Next, on the basis of volume, a more familiar one based on the retail and wholesale. Based on the number of units that you sell, this classification has been made as retail and wholesale market. Short term markets and long term markets. Short term markets are the markets which exist only for a very shorter period of time. Most best example, sorry, the example is your perishable goods. Whatever farming that you have done, probably some greens or vegetables, you try to sell it as early as possible when it is fresh. So that is what happens in a short term markets. Whereas if you take a consumer durable goods, that can be sold at any point of time, 3 months, 6 months time, or sometimes even 1 year. If the sale does not happen, you put on a sale, right? So that is, yeah, long term market. Basis of importance: primary market, agricultural; secondary market, semi finished goods; tertiary market, consumer goods. We say tertiary market, consumer goods, because that is where it reaches finally. And primary market is agricultural because, say, if you are a company who's preparing wheat flour, say ITC prepares wheat flour, the primary raw material of wheat has to come from this primary market. That is where agriculture comes from, right? So based on the importance, it has been classified as primary, secondary and tertiary market. So with this, we come to the last part of the video. So if you want to know your business, you should know what you are selling to. So what we mean here is, you should know the market characteristics, and only by knowing the market characteristics, you can plan accordingly and become a successful marketer. Thank you. Any doubts, please ping me on this contact. Thank you.